the illnesses that we overlook. We all acknowledge breast cancer. It can start from the day of birth till they are 15 years of life. So the awareness is not. Childhood cancer in general means an abnormal growth of cells.
Okay.
Normally, when a man and a woman meet, they bring their eggs together and form the baby, but there's a regulated way in which the baby is formed. However, in cancer, that regulation is lost.
Okay.
So cells grow abnormally anywhere, everywhere. So the child is born with a cancer. However, outside, cancer is 80% curable given the right environment, the right medications, the right access to the medications as well.
And the resources in general.
However, in Ghana and in the developing world in general, these are not there. So the mortality rate is higher. And also, childhood cancer actually tends to affect us even more in the developing areas. With childhood cancer, it can affect any part of the body, from the head to the eyes to the legs, the arms, the stomach, to the blood, and then the brain. So childhood cancer it can affect every aspect of the child's life. Unfortunately, sometimes the symptoms resemble other illnesses like malaria, pneumonias, and infections. So it can be quite tricky in diagnosing it. So that poses one of the challenges. People have fevers that are not coming down, but they stay at home or do herbal medications, and by the time they come, it's a bit too late.
Thank you. Okay. Can you tell us about Lifeline for Childhood Cancer Ghana and the work you're doing to solve the problems that we are discussing?
So Lifeline for Childhood Cancer is a foundation. Essentially what we do is raise money for the treatment, access to medical care, provide financial support, emotional support to the mums and the children who we're looking after, essentially just to make their lives whole. The biggest problem is that because childhood cancer is not on national health insurance, every child or every family has to pay out of pocket. And, with us how we live. It's a bread and butter matter. I've got to feed my kids. I can't pay for MRI, think about someone who's come all the way from Upper Volta, let's just say, and you expect them to do CT, which costs 1,500, and MRI, which costs about 6,700, have to do the bloods, have to do biopsies. So, even to go through the treatment, the diagnosis alone, you're looking at 3,000, 4,000, depending on the type of cancer. So, of course, for any family, it's a simple choice. Can I afford it? Can I not afford it? Do I use the same amount of money to feed other children and just take the child home and allow the child to die? So for us, we believe that every child matters. Every child deserves a chance on life. So what Lifeline does is we raise money to support, for the diagnosis, for the treatment, for surgeries, for living costs, for transportation to and fro, to ensure that any child who knocks on our door has a chance for treatment. Every child deserves to live. Every child, wherever they come from, we believe deserves a chance to live. So that's what we do.
Doc, how important are these services to perhaps increasing the probability of the child surviving?
So all these services that they offer actually really go a long way to help, because most childhood cancers, unlike the perception, are treatable and curable. Children go on to live normal lives, give birth to their children, and then
so you don't have to die. The child does not have to die because they've been diagnosed with cancer.
Ladies who have given birth to their children are living and going to school, and they are fine because they came early and they were able to go through the treatment. However, cancer treatment is not like malaria treatment. It's quite long, it's intensive, and it needs very detailed investigations to make sure that we are giving the right medication for the right cancer. So most times actually, finances are a major problem. So Lifeline has really given a lifeline to the financial aspect of these parents who are dealing with children with cancer. So also the awareness, because realize that most of the time the awareness is not there. People have misperceptions. People think that, cancer is a death sentence, so they don't even go forward with the treatment. But childhood cancer is actually curable, 80% curable.
Wow.
when you see them early.
Okay.
But people don't know, so they sit at homes for quite a very long time, and by the time they come, it's quite complicated.
Okay.
Yeah, but they are curable, and that's the sad part. In the developed countries, childhood cancer is treatable, curable, and people go on to live their normal lives. But here, it's a different story.
Okay. If you walk us through some of the work you've done with specific families and how we can donate to help at least cure childhood cancer so that we don't have the statistics of 80% of our kids dying from something that they can be cured from.
So, like Dr. Shandor said, it's very important that we take the awareness to every doorstep. Every child, it is curable. So there's a chance. And like I said, where people still don't know about it, people still to date ask, children really do get cancer? So we take awareness creation extremely serious because we get too many late presentations.
Yeah.
And we are, in fact, competing with the herbalist, the Bibidro person, and the churches.
Yeah.
So normally our first point of call is the church. And childhood cancer replicates really quickly. So 4 weeks can make a whole lot of difference between stage 1 and stage 3, or So it's important that we take the awareness to every doorstep, everywhere we have a chance to preach the word that it's curable. If as a parent, if you see something that's off, I think that's all that we keep telling people. If you see something that's off, it's a trigger. No child gets malaria for 3 months. No child coughs for 3 months. A child doesn't necessarily go blind suddenly. Those are always the triggers. We have a child we say the child is always imbalanced. They're wobbly, they're dizzy, they fall down when they walk, and it's sudden. It's off. It's a trigger. You have a child who constantly keeps breaking their bones. Luckily we say and then they fall, they break a bone, and those are also a trigger. And then lymph nodes. You have swellings on different parts of the body. The child's belly suddenly growing big would instantly say it's kwashiorkor or something else. Those are all triggers. So we keep preaching the awareness that if you see something that is an anomaly, get a referral. At least come through and let's ascertain that it is not. Then if it is, then we start treating immediately. If it's not, we'll let it go.
So all these things you mentioned are potential symptoms
They're
of
potential
childhood
triggers
cancer.
and symptoms, yes.
And we're in an environment where if something happens and it's unusual, maybe you go to church first.
Exactly.
You go to the herbalist first.
Exactly.
And when you are, the hospital is your absolute last resort.
Exactly.
Can you talk to us about how important it is for us to do it the other way around, of going to the hospital first?
Yes.
And then you go to pray to support whatever diagnosis it might be.
I mean, the doctor is not, the priest is not a doctor. The priest only does a little part. So in fact, the priest has no business in at this stage. You always have to go to the hospital first, seek medical attention, and let the doctors refer you if it's off. The other problems too we have is that our medical staff, not all of us are trained enough to diagnose it. Like I said, because it's the symptoms. Exactly. Yes, we're quick to keep thinking it's a normal headache, or there's a redness in the eye and it's normal. So we're not quick to pick it up. So Lifeline also does work with the health workers. We do a lot of capacity building, so they're able to notice the early warning signs, and then they can refer it quickly.
So if I'm treating my child for malaria and the child is not healing,
exactly,
as a parent, I can ask the health professional
to escalate
look for
it.
something else. Let's not keep treating this thing.
Yes. If there's a lymph node that keeps growing and it's painless, for instance, take it up. It's normal. We don't walk around with lymph nodes. If you have a little spot on your eye that suddenly appears, whether it's redness or whiteness or ate, that we call it, escalate it. If your child suddenly goes blind, it's off. If your child keeps breaking their bones, it's off. They vomit, constantly and it's not stopping, it's off. We need to be able to escalate it. And then at least let's check for everything else. Let's start doing the bloods. Let's start doing all the tests. And then, so that's one. Like I said, we also do a lot of, we raise money for the treatment. So when you come in and you can't afford it, we'll help you through the treatment, the diagnosis. the bloods, the MRIs, the biopsies, everything. We will support you in that. We'll support you with the chemotherapy. We'll support you with the surgeries if it's needed. We'll support you with living costs. We even support with transport, because a lot of our mothers go and they can't come back. They can't even afford to come back. So we have to ensure that we give them transport so they come back, because we do have a high rate of abandonment of treatment.
Wow.
Yes. And that's also one of our, and they'll linger and then it just turns to something else when we could just have continued the treatments. Okay. That's some of the things we do. In fact, while the women are there, and of course it's always the moms who have to sit with the kid, treatments can go on for about a year and a half, and they're stuck in the hospital because it's too far to go and come back. So while they're there doing nothing, we have a jewelry making program
to help them make
so they're active, they have a trade, so they sell their jewelry, they have all these beautiful necklaces and then bangles and beautiful things.
So these are some of the jewelry.
These are some of the jewelry that our mothers have done. So they're able to have an extra income for their families.
Additionally, the children.
And the children, we also have to keep them active, so they do crafts, the reading, because they are out of school for the whole duration. The immunity is low, so they're not allowed to go to school. So we have to do activities with them. We have teachers on site to help them so they don't miss out on their lessons. They have crafts. We do everything we can to make their lives whole.
So, Ikia, your Lifeline for Childhood Cancer Ghana, you guys are solving a very big problem.
Thank you.
How do we all contribute, right? Walk us through some of we're looking at flyers here of, you're seeing some on your screens of children who were affected by cancer, right? Sometimes it starts as something really small on the eye. The parents won't take it to the hospital, the health professionals might not know, and before you know it, the child is dead, right? And this is a child that could have lived if we had not been careless, right? So even if we can't all go out there like Ikea and her team are doing, we can contribute something to help them save the lives of these children. So Ikea, can you walk us through how we can all support the work that you're doing?
I think everybody needs to help. It's undiscriminatory. It can affect your child, my child. You never know when. So it's important that, we all sow the seed and support these children who need our help. We ask for corporate participation. As companies, please think of us as a CSR component of your businesses. I've nothing against beauty pageants, but these are life-saving activities. So think of us when you think about your CSR activities. As churches, you can raise money by yourself. As friends, you can hold a gala, you can have a car boot sale, you can just anything you can do to raise money amongst yourselves. Just support us. We're grateful, even if it's your time. We're grateful for it. We have different avenues which we can use. So we have.
And before we even get to the avenues, can you walk us through some of the survivors' stories so that we can see the impact you've had?
I mean, like Dr. Shandov says, if we identify it early and treat it early, there's an 80% chance of living. So we have lots of survivors. We have lots of survivors. We have lots of them back to school. I mean, in our booklet, we have different survivors. We have Franklin Amwako, he's an amputee, he's back at school. In here we have Blessing. Praises.
Yes. She has delivered her baby.
She has her babies. We have lots of survivors.
How do we all get on board? Walk us through the mobile money number, bank account number, everything, because this year, and we're always telling you guys that you have to spread love everywhere you go, and it's not to just buy roses, chocolates, actually impacting the life of somebody else, right? And children are the most vulnerable amongst us. So take the number down, take the bank account information down, and let's help save the lives of these children. So please.
So we have a Momo number. It's very easy, 0555 751377. That's 0555 751377, and it's Lifeline for Childhood Cancer Ghana. We also have our bankers at ADB, and I'll go through it quietly, slowly. 050 10 101 360-28301. I'll say it again, 050-10101 360-28301. You can also go to our website, lccghanafoundation.org, and you can pay online. So we've made it very easy. Your credit card, your debit card, we're good to go. Or call us. You can always reach us 0243221222. 0243221222. So join us. Like you said, while you think about chocolates, there's a child who is battling for his life, fighting the biggest fight of their life, and you can make a bigger impact. 100 cedis chocolates can buy a round of kibble. Yeah. 1,000 cedis can do 3 rounds of chemo. Wow. 2,500 cedis can do a basic surgery. And 5,000 can make a whole lot of difference. Of course, 100,000 can make a massive difference.
Transform an entire community.
Yeah.
Really.
Exactly. So every little bit adds up. Every little bit adds up. So find us. We're ready. We're available. We'll speak to you.
What's the social media handle?
On Instagram, Lifeline Childhood Cancer GH.
Okay.
Yes, and on Facebook it's Lifeline for Childhood Cancer Ghana. So, and our website lccgfoundation.org. So look us up and get in touch.
Thank you very much. Ekia Support is the Executive Director of Lifeline for Childhood Cancer Ghana, and of course, Dr. Ernestina Shandorf is a pediatrician. Thank you guys so much for being with us. So the 15th of February, we are raising awareness to cancer. So this is an opportunity for you to call that person who claims to love you the most to donate and impact the lives of a child battling cancer. If we're able to catch it early, we can actually cure it and treat it, and this child will go on to live a very magnificent life and be a very good citizen of this country, and they might actually be the person to save you in a couple of years when you are at your lowest. So let's do the best that we can to support the work that they're doing. Take a look at our entertainment highlights and then continue the show.
Welcome to Entertainment Highlights, your hub for all trending issues in the entertainment world. My name is Nana Adjoa Sarkodie.